Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to tonight's presentation. I think some of us have gotten to know each other over the last few minutes, trying to get in and everything working. My name's Linda Peters. I'm one of the presenters tonight, and I'm a Master Gardener. With me is Bunny Williams. She's also a Master Gardener, and her and I are going to share our experiences and talk about the Master Gardener program. We're volunteer educators with the Cooperative Extension of the University of Delaware and Delaware State University. And we do workshops like this. We also speak to garden clubs and service clubs. We have information tables at various activities like the state fair. We have a garden in back of our building in Georgetown that we teach from. And we also have a helpline where you can call us and we will try to help you with any of your garden questions. We will send you some information that has the helpline phone number on it after the presentation. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure it out since our chat isn't working quite right. What we're going to do is talk about the Master Gardener program and show you some of the pictures from our different activities. One of the things that I always notice about these pictures, if you look at them closely, you will see that we're all smiling. We're all happy with the program, happy doing all the wonderful things that we do. So we're going to get started with, who are we? And we're people who love gardening. We're also considered links in a chain that start with the science at the university and studies that are done. These are then turned into materials that we can learn from, and then we can in turn teach the public. So the good thing about that is that with the university behind us, the information that we're giving out to people is valid. It's not something somebody made up on the internet. It's real stuff. So it's great. We're people who are also given some additional training. We have classes, which we'll talk about a little more as we go forward with this presentation. And now after we get trained in classes and all, then we educate the public. And here Karen's talking about compost at our garden in Georgetown. The Master Gardener program started in 1972 out in Washington State. It was begun as a way to help the extension agents deal with all the questions they were getting from the general homeowner garden versus what they were getting from the professional growers. So we started the program here in Delaware in 1986. We have over 200 Master Gardeners in the state of Delaware. And we're in all three of the counties. In fact, if you look across the United States, we're in every state and in most counties. So it's a really big organization, and there's a lot of information associated with it. Candidates are people who would like to help others in their community. This is an event we went to at James Farm down at Ocean View, teaching about accessible gardening and things that you can do to make it easier to garden as you age out or have any other infirmities. We like gardening and we enjoy gardening, even though it's messy sometimes. And good gardeners become good educators. This is also out in the garden in Georgetown. Bunny's going to talk a little bit about our training.
Hi, the training for the Master Gardeners is a 12-week course. We go every 12 weeks, and The program includes formal lectures, discussion sessions, tours, workshops, and problem-solving sessions. The Master Gardener training includes topics such as backyard habitats, sustainable landscaping, composting, gardening with vegetables, and fruits. Part of the training was not just in the class, but we went to Newark, to the University of Delaware Soil Lab, and that was very impressive to see all the instrumentation they have and the steps they take, and the technicians were so patient with us and answered all of our questions. Another place we went was to Del State University, to the herbarium. I had never even heard of the herbarium, and some people that I know that went to that university had never heard of it. It's not a large building, but it's chock full of the most interesting specimens, some that are hundreds of years old. When they pass them around, you know that you're holding something that is more precious than diamonds. The end of that outing, we went outside and there's a pawpaw tree out there. And they had harvested some of the fruit. They cut it up and let us all sample it. And it was like the most delicious thing I ever tasted in my life. And my long range plan is to plant a couple of pawpaw trees. They're very interesting because there's no way to tell whether they're a male or female plant until they grow for 5 or 6 or 7 years. Also, we have to put in 40 hours of volunteer hours a year. Now, the monthly meetings are also included in that, so it's very easy to get your hours. Also, during the year, they like us to get 5 hours of advanced training. And many times during our monthly meeting, you will get an opportunity to get another hour of advanced training. The workshops, we do the workshops for many people, and it's what I like about doing the workshops is, and the information tables, is the give and take we get with the public. And at first I was a little reticent to do them because I thought, I don't know enough yet. But then I realized that I didn't have to have the answer. I just had to know the person's name and phone number, and I could go find that answer because we have all the resources of both universities behind us, the greatest minds in science, and they are very helpful and they freely give you information.
One thing about the training before we leave this, because this is the latest discussion Tracy and I had, is they're going to do the training both in person and via Zoom, what we call a hybrid. And that's the current plan. Before COVID, we always did all of our training in person. Since COVID, like the last class was pretty much all of Zoom. So we're really hoping to be back to a somewhat normal and be doing more in person for this class coming up.
I did neglect to say that during the training on that 12 weeks on Monday and Wednesday, the hours are 9 a.m. till 12:30 p.m.
And this is just advanced training. Volunteers. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities. I'm going to show you a few pictures from our garden. We have the garden in Georgetown has like 26, I think, sub gardens. So there's a little bit of a lot of different plant materials. So we can demonstrate how all these different plants will grow in our area and some of the characteristics about them. And it's really a fun, great place even to just visit. This is our vegetable garden. We have some raised beds plus in-ground vegetable gardens, and we donate the food from this garden to the food bank. This is our Peter Rabbit garden, which has a combination of flowers and edibles. And we will talk a little bit about Peter Rabbit as we go forward. One of the master gardeners designed and built this. It's a bee house, and it's part of some of the activities where we're really interested in supporting pollinators and particularly bees. And such a great addition to our garden, and we really love it. We have a children's garden that we've used for school visits in the past, and we're planning to do more of that in the future, especially now that, you know, COVID is somewhat behind us and we're starting to do more in-person things again. The workshops are really interesting. You can do a workshop on almost anything that you can think of having to do with gardening. And gardening can be a very broad term. The only thing that Tracy has not let us do is we can't have alcohol and we can't have an open fire. But other than that, she's been really pretty good about what we'd like to do. This is Fran doing house plants. Lisa is very artistic and taught us all how to do these broken containers, fairy garden things, which were really fun, especially when we had some kids doing them. This is flower arranging. So we try to do a little bit about what we do with the flowers after we grow them too. And for some reason, master gardeners like working with cement. And we've done a number of workshops making hypertufa containers, making, these are leaf castings so that it looks like a leaf when we finish it, a concrete leaf. And they're very popular, not only with the public, very popular with the master gardeners. This workshop is interesting. We've done it several times. We call it an insect safari. We invite people into the garden to look for insects. We pretty much do not spray unless it's something really detrimental. And so there's plenty to look at. We always have bees and butterflies in the summer and other creatures, some of which aren't really that welcome in your garden, but at least here you get to see them. So we're always looking for people to participate in these, and you might have ideas of other workshops you'd like to do. James made rain barrels with people. Bob was lecturing at James Farm. You can see people were all out there in coats. And Rick's lecturing in our building out in Georgetown. We have all the facilities, electronic facilities with computers and projectors and microphones and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity to educate the public in different fashions, different things. So depends on what your interest is and what you'd like to share. We do have the telephones, our helpline, and this is our helpline number, which I'll make sure you get on the material we send you. We all try to answer the helplines. I know people are sometimes intimidated by the idea of people calling and asking them questions that you might not know the answer to, but that's fine. You can always tell them, take their information and get back to them, and there's plenty of help. There's plenty of information to access in the office. Tracy's there to help us. And if we can't answer it down in Sussex County, we can always send it up to the labs to be analyzed by the scientists. So there's a lot there, and you don't have to be intimidated by trying to answer things on the phone. But there's always help of your peers too. This group of master gardeners was working on a problem. And don't they look happy even though they were working on a problem? Information tables. This is when we go out into some different activities that are going on in the community. This is one that we did at the Milford Farmers Market one Saturday morning. Bunny and Fran were talking about the accessible gardening program that we have, answering questions about different tools you could use to make garden easier. Tina here, we're at the Milton Garden Tour on this one. It was in the fall, and we have had such fun at the Milton Garden Tours. We've had great weather usually, and some really nice people that we get to meet and talk to. I think we talked to 70 some people at the last garden tour we did.
I think so.
This is at James Farm for their native plant sale and family fun fest. The Inland Bays run this event with DNRAC. And this was fun. It was last year and it poured down rain. And even though it poured down rain, there were hundreds of people who showed up for this event. It was amazing. In this picture, you will notice that we're wearing little head things that look like spotted lanternflies. This was kind of a outreach to capture people's attention about this pest that we're dealing with. And you will notice a little prize wheel in this picture. We try to play little games with some of the children that come to these events. We ask them questions like, what's the state bug and what's the state trade, things that they can answer. And then we give them little stickers. And it is so fun to interact with children at these kind of events. And this information table was at the International Master Gardener Conference, the year that we actually won an award for our Peter Rabbit puppet show. And so we had to have this display so that we could show master gardeners in other states that were at this event. And we actually do have some master gardeners in other states doing this program. They've kind of taken our program and tailored it for themselves. So we're very excited about sharing that type of material with other people. This is another picture of information table in at one of our events, and with accessible gardening again. Our tools are very popular. Anytime we take them to an event, we seem to create a line of people that want to touch and talk about them. A little more about our puppet show. It's designed for younger children, primarily school age. We talk about vegetables, what vegetables look like, how they grow. A lot of kids have never seen where our food comes from. And we talk about those things, and we talk about a little bit about insects. We have a fun thing where the rabbit steals some of the vegetables from the garden, and then Farmer McGregor chases the rabbit, and the kids seem to really love that. We also have a part where, and we're talking about insects, praying mantis comes to eat the Japanese beetle, and the kids really love that too. School visits. Before COVID, we used to have school visits on a regular basis. There was some money for some of the school districts for buses and things like that. And that's pretty much changed in recent years. We haven't had much, especially since COVID. We're hoping to get back to having some kind of school activities that we haven't had the last couple of years, this year and going forward. So that's going to be a work in progress as to how that evolves, and that's going to be a really interesting program to work on as we try to figure out how to get more children into the garden and with these educational activities that we have for them. Another school visit thing, We would take them all around our garden and explain all kinds of different plants to them. This is our woodland trail. It's kind of going under a little renovation right now. We would take children, school-age children, out into this woods that's on the property that we had detailed out a path to walk around. And then we talk about all kinds of different things, like who lives in the woods and some of the different plants. And we always had a couple lizards that showed up that everybody loved. And spiders. The kids could see, had much better eyesight than the rest of us, and could see all kinds of things that we could talk about. And it really was a lot of fun, especially because most of them had never walked in the woods before. And we also did it with master gardeners and adults too, because we found out a lot of them hadn't walked into the woods. And there's always something to learn every time we go in there. And right now, a group of people are working on renovating the trail. We haven't used it in a couple of years because of COVID. And that's another thing that we'll be looking to work on as time goes on and try to get back to using it more. We have more social activities. That's one of the things I like about the Master Gardeners is you meet friends. There, you have a lot of opportunity to talk to people and work with people who have interests like you do. We have a couple of formal activities. We have a picnic once a year and the Words Banquet once a year. We just had the Words Banquet for 2022 in January. So there's I've met a lot of people and have a lot of friends as a result of the Master Gardeners, people who like to do what I do, like to dig in the dirt and go to nurseries and buy plants I don't really need and all those kinds of things. We occasionally go on trips and tours. We've been to, this is Mount Cuba, and this is one of my favorite places, Nemours. And so we went through the mansion and the gardens there, and it was gorgeous. We try to do something once a year or so. We've been to the New York High Line, and we've been to Chanticleer. So we've been to a lot of different places over the years. And so it's really a nice way to see these other gardens and get tons of ideas. And sometimes we even go to each other's gardens. This is the garden of one of the Master Gardeners who specialized in growing hydrangeas. And it was fabulous.
Go back a slide.
Go back a slide? Okay.
For a couple years, well, first of all, I met Linda. We were founding board members of the Farmers Market in Seaford, and that's how we became friends. And so she started inviting me to go places. And every time we got someplace, now I've lived in Seaford nearly 50 years, and we'd get someplace and she'd always know somebody. And I couldn't even walk down the street and see somebody I knew. So I started going to all these events with her. And then one day we were in Milford in an art class, and somebody was having a problem with something in their garden. And I said, oh, ask Linda, she's a master gardener. And she helped them, and they finished talking. And that person turned to me and said, well, Bunny, are you a master gardener? I said, no, I still work full time. I really don't have time to go to the classes or do any of the things just yet. But I support Linda in all she does and go to all the events with her. And somebody in the class said, well, then why don't you just become a master gardener? And I was like, aha. And I said, you know what? I'm going to sign up. And I'm so glad I did. I've made so many friends, been so many interesting places. And it's not just work, it's also social. So I did want to tell you that.
Master Gardener candidates are selected based on program capacity, county needs, and the completion of the application and background check. We will send you the website address of the applications plus a letter and some facts about the application process are all online, and we'll send you that information. And this is our phone number, an online Ask a Master Gardener kind of thing, general information, and our Master Gardener videos, which is another program I should have mentioned. We do Master Gardener videos. They're 1 minute, where we explain something, how to trim a rose bush, something that we could get done in a minute. And we've got quite a few of them out online. They're really interesting. And so we're always looking for people who want to do Master Gardener minutes. And I think that's the end.
So do we want to like jump back on and people can unmute and ask questions?
Yes.
So I don't know how many people on here are Sussex and or Kent County. I'm Tracy Wooten. I'm the coordinator down in Sussex, and Megan Pleasanton. Megan, wave.
Hi, Megan.
She works for Delaware State University and is coordinator for Kent County and also helps out in Sussex. And one unique thing about, even though we have it in all 3 counties, unique was Kent and Sussex actually started training together years ago. And we still do a lot of, we train together still, and we still do functions together, which is great. And I think, you know, we're just a better organization from that. So anybody have a first question about the program?
I wanted to know a couple things. One, what is the cost?
Okay.
And secondly, who teaches the classes?
So the cost is $150, and that's for the whole, all the training and your resources and that kind of thing. So the individuals who teach are actually professors and or extension agents who are in UD or University of Delaware or Delaware State University, as well as some of the Master Gardeners may teach a class as well, depending on what their expertise is. So one of the best things about this is you get the most up-to-date information, and you literally get to interact with, you know, people from campus and the rest of our extension organization.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
I
Sure,
have
Karen.
a question. I'm Karen Westerman. In regard to volunteering, you said that there are volunteer requirements. How
Mhm.
do you get to be identified in the volunteer program? I mean, do you pick jobs, or are jobs assigned to you, and how does that work?
Okay, so we will have we get a lot of different requests
Mhm.
as a program. Now, we are not open to going and, you know, renovating your garden and doing the hands-on piece of that. We're really and truly educators, and that's what we do. We go and advise. We may or may not help a little bit, but that's, you know, some people just call and say, I'd love for you to come help us plant these 100 trees or whatever.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We can tell
I'd
you
like
how
some
to do it
help
the
with
right
that
way.
too.
Yeah, exactly. But as requests come in, we try to help out as many you know, projects as we can. It depends on if we have people who have an interest and in that, and yeah, and what our expertise are, in all honesty. So I know something very unique was 2 of our Master Gardeners, their daughter worked in a deli. It was called Two Meatballs Deli in Millsboro. They it was purchased by a new owner, and they actually have a living wall, a hydroponic system on one of the walls in the restaurant, and they didn't know how to do it. You know, the plants had died. The person didn't explain exactly everything needed to be done. And so they called me and said, Tracy, do you know anybody who could help with this? And I said, well, that's not my area of expertise, but let me make some phone calls. Long story short, I worked with Megan, and she identified some people. I called one of our professors in the plant science department. There's actually a hydroponics club at University of Delaware, and
Okay.
their president came down. He did a site visit with me to see what was there, what kind of system it was. And I made the introductions, and then he actually came down. They just got it back up and running. So something very unique from, I've also, we've been asked to help with community gardens. What do we do? How do we start one? Or, could you do a seed starting class for our students, kind of thing? So it could run the gamut. But what we would do is we would identify those projects that work for us as a group, and then we would ask for volunteers. So you get to pick and choose,
Got it.
when you're available. Yeah.
And the same thing too. So like once you've become a master gardener, they have committee signups in January and February, and that's when you would indicate, what you feel
I
passionate about.
see.
Are
I
you big
see.
on the demonstration
Mhm.
side? Do you want to do workshops? And then those required hours. So that 40 hours, it's over a course of a year. So once,
Oh, I
once,
see.
once training is over, you have until November 1st of that following year to get your time in, for that first year of master gardener training.
Sure.
So technically you're a master gardener in training until that following November 1 of 2024, if you were in this class, just because it gives us time to help people, get comfortable with things,
course.
maybe pair up with someone and just get to know the program and what we're all about. So the other thing that I wanted to mention was for people who are applying, we will have another session if you think you're going to apply, June 14th, and that is at 6:30, and it will be in person and via Zoom, a hybrid, but we're going to we'll have other master gardeners there. So you can go around, see some of the programs we're doing, but also ask questions.
So how do we learn about that on the 14th of June? Are we getting an email about that? Or
So
what?
if this is for anybody who applies.
Got
And
it.
basically what we, once you make that application, we'll send
Yep.
that information out to you
Yep.
so that you can come, because sometimes you think you know what the program is, but you're not real sure. And just talk to people of, why they're there and what they've enjoyed most about the program. So it's just another, take it for a test drive kind of
Sure.
thing.
I understand. Good.
And
Sure.
Kent County, they have the similar open house or meet and greet, if you will, on June 15th. Are there any Kent County residents in here? There's one, maybe.
Yeah.
Couple. Cool. So the same thing, if once you apply, you would get an email, and we tell you all the information. So we would, you don't have to go searching for it. We'll let you know what's coming down the pike. But
Yeah.
I actually just was talking to our workshop person. I said, I think we should do one of these for Kent County. So we're going to try to get one together for Kent County as well. So hopefully we'll have that, I'm thinking the very end of March. So that we, because we do have very similar projects as Kent County, or as Sussex County, but there are some differences as well. So
Yes.
it'd be a good opportunity to see what we have to offer there.
Yeah. And
That's great. Thank you.
Sure. The big thing about this too is cooperative extension is about meeting the needs of their residents. So each county has a county office, and what we do is, like Megan says, theirs is slightly different. The needs that come into her on a daily basis may be different from what we get. So that's the beauty of this program, is we're literally interfacing with the public, and there may be this big problem out there that no one has done research on, and we take that up to campus and ask, see if there's anybody that can do that research. And once that research is done, then we bring that back, and then we incorporate that into our programs to help people in their local community. So that's the best part about cooperative extension, and the fact that it's non-biased. That's the biggest thing. Like Linda said, this is not what grandma did, with a certain mixture. This is based on research. And, there's no bias as to products and that kind of thing. Technically, if you have a call in with a problem, we're there to help you solve it. And we're not going to tell you that this is what you should do. We give you your options of what the solutions can be. So, and like Linda and Bonnie said, you don't have to memorize the answer. That's the biggest thing that a lot of people freak out, because we're going to do, botany, a class. Well, but that's okay, because the sessions are recorded. One of the things that I love being able to do as a group is, once you're a master gardener, if you want a refresher on a topic, Master Gardeners are allowed to come back in for free and sit through the classes. The ones that they would like, to listen to. So that's a great thing. One of the other benefits is that we have a newsletter called Ornamentals Hotline that's done every week through the growing season. You get a copy of that as a benefit of the Master Gardener program. A lot of different things like that. And, one of the things I like to tell people, cooperative extension is all about change. And so if you can't roll with the punches, so to speak, or adapt, and, just like tonight with the chat box, I wasn't freaking out, and Linda and Bunny, because, things happen. They just happen, and we just work through them and make things happen and make it work. So, yeah, Megan and I can tell you that years ago when we first started doing this, I think that was when we were doing Adobe Connect, wasn't it, Megan, where literally the technology was not nice to us. And by the end of the lecture, we had a microphone sitting on a tissue box next to someone's phone so we could hear the lecture.
I think
We could see them, but we couldn't hear them, so.
Now look at us zooming,
I know.
like you just have to roll with it.
But yeah, so, and people are very forgiving, and that's just it. Like when Linda said, if someone asks you a question you don't know, you say, you know what, I want to research that for you and I'll get back to you. And that's what people enjoy the most, is that you're going to try to get them the correct answer. One of the other things that we have as universities is our soil testing lab. So we do offer soil test kits, and we can help people learn how to use those. You will literally do a soil test and get the results back in the class. We also have our plant diagnostic laboratory. And so Jill Pollock is our diagnostician. She's a plant pathologist. And so we literally have a service where if we cannot diagnose something, we can send samples up to her. And she will, sometimes it's literally taking specimens and growing them out on a Petri dish and looking at the spores to identify a disease. So, there's a lot of those things. And again, you don't have to memorize that, that's all there. And it's just a matter of learning through the process and helping others that need that service. So other questions? Nancy, do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And
Sure.
I am Nancy Schneider. I didn't identify myself earlier. Just a little clarification, a couple questions. Clarification on the volunteer opportunities. Did I hear you all say that will be sent out information about volunteer opportunities? We don't make up our own. Is that right?
No. Now, I will say this. Sometimes there are projects that several people in our group may have an interest in. And then basically a project is something Megan and I approve that we can then, you guys can then obtain hours, volunteer and obtain hours for that project. And usually we have a reporting system that, if you work on something like that, you can put your hours back towards that. So we can see what people have an interest in. It could be a workshop like tonight, Karen was taking attendance, or it may be you're helping with registration and answering questions at a in-person workshop or a Zoom. Those are all hours that you can count. If you do a presentation of some kind, you can count the preparation hours as well as your drive time to that program and back. So we do have equipment you can borrow, and we do have a speakers bureau, and we have a coordinator for some of the bigger projects and programs that we have, and they help coordinate that. Just because, well, I'm not even sure what we're up to now, maybe 12 requests already for speakers and or some other type of program. So we're very popular,
Okay.
but it's very rewarding too.
And when do we sign up? How do we sign up? And are you all going to be able to send the PowerPoint from tonight to us?
Yes.
But, yeah,
Yes, we can do
when to
that.
sign up, because you talked about June, but I guess people would be applying before that.
Yes.
And
So the actual application is online right now. So you can go there. There is a letter for each county.
go where?
We'll send you the link also along with a PowerPoint, but if you just Google Delaware Cooperative Extension, become a master gardener. It'll take you right to that page and you'll see there's a area for Newcastle County, Kent, and Sussex. So the training itself will be a statewide training. So we will be training for all 3 counties at one time. And then, so the application is out there.
And they're due May 26th is the
Yes.
deadline for applications.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have a selection committee. And again, when we say it's by need and or number and how many people we can house. So, sometimes people will not re-up, because maybe there's a, family member and they just can't keep up with the hours now. The other thing I want to say about this program that I absolutely love, and Megan and I have to remind ourselves of this and our volunteers remind us back, but Master Gardeners, your family comes first before any other volunteering. So you can take a leave of absence if something should happen. Life happens. And so
Family and
want
health,
people-
that's what we say.
Yep.
Family and health comes before.
And your health.
vol-
Correct. And so, yeah, so we want you to know that right up, because we, as Linda said, you get to know a lot of friends and become good friends with others. And so we do try to help each other. That's the one thing I love about the program as well. So the deadline is May 26th. That's a Friday. And then we have an application process. And then if you're chosen, you will get notified. We will ask for background checks, and they are due June 30th. And this is all in the letter that you'll see online, so you don't have to memorize all that. But then the final notification that you would be seated in the class would be July 21st. And we usually try to call everyone if possible. And so then the classes would start September 6th. That's a Monday. And that
So
runs.
the applicants, I get, we'd make our selections, and at the end of June 16th is the date that we have as our hard day to make the selections. And then at that time is when we would push the information about the background check. So you wouldn't get that
Mhm.
before, you're notified. You get your information from us because we do our background check in-house.
Mhm.
And can I just ask, this is Arlene, you only offer the courses from 9 a.m. to 12? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be recorded. So we try to be sure everyone makes every effort to attend them, because you do get more out of them. But it is recorded if for some reason you're sick or whatever. We try to make that. I will say this, we're doing hybrid, but I would strongly encourage all those who can come in person, because number one of the things we found that last year was all Zoom because of COVID, or 2 years ago, 21 was the last class. Everything was Zoom, except we actually had an in-person session where you came and picked up your supplies. We took your picture for our directory so we could all learn each other's names and what we look like. We did have a in-person field trip to Newark campus where we did our Wood Eats class outside. Dr. Bob Lyons, he's actually emeritus now, but he is coming back to do a lecture on herbaceous plants, and he's fabulous. And then and our soils lab. So we really did not get a lot of one-on-one interaction last year. And that's one of the things that we know we're missing. We're actually working right now Linda will tell you, we talked about this. She goes, oh my gosh, Tracy, I come in person and I only know half the class. It's because we haven't had that opportunity, until recently, but that's where you really make the connections. And, our monthly meetings are also another place where so much stuff gets done in 2 hours that but it's a great time to, number one, interact, but also to learn from each other as well.
Tracy, where is the physical location?
So in Sussex County, we're at the
Yeah.
Carville Research and Education Center, and that's
Repeat that again, I'm sorry.
it's the Carville Research and Education Center, and we're on Route 9, just past Sussex Tech High School. So if you go to Georgetown, there's an intersection of Route 9 and 113. Literally, you make a left or right to go west, and we're 5 miles from that light. It's and it's on here, but it's 16483
Mhm.
And I can put that in the chat box too.
Yeah,
County
thanks.
seat highway. Yeah. So, I mean, we're unique in Sussex County in that we're housed at our experimental station and it's a working farm. Kent County is at the Paradise Center in Dover. And then Megan actually is housed at Delaware State University. And so I love the fact that we get to do both. And but yeah, and then Newcastle County is of course on campus. So you know, each county office may be slightly different. But the unique part about our office is that it is a working farm. Many of our researchers are there. So, you know, I'm very fortunate that I can walk down the hall and talk to some of the experts if I don't know something. And it's very unique in that the farm is there. The garden that we have is about an acre. And like Linda said, there's probably 26 smaller gardens or areas, maybe raised beds or whatever, unique to that garden. The garden itself, you'll hear us talk about it a lot, is that it's for learning. You know, it's for us to try
it's
things.
awesome. It's awesome. So every year I go down, you know, I don't go there all the time, but every year I'm like, oh, how different could it be, you know, during their open house? And it's so different every year. I mean, they do a wonderful job. If you haven't been, you should totally go because it's really a showpiece, you know.
Yeah, put June 24th. That's a Saturday from 10 to 2. That is our open house this year. This is the first time we've done it in June. We've done it in July. We've done it in September, but it's a great place to learn and to try new things. You know, many of the people who have become master gardeners may have come from, some have transferred as master gardeners from other states. Some people are new to the area and they're like, I don't know how to grow anything here in Delaware. And that's another popular program, and we call it New to Delaware, that, you know, we have master gardeners who have learned it the hard way, so to speak, share their knowledge, and people get to ask questions. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes if possible. Other questions that
Yeah,
someone
I'm curious. This may be a very silly question, but I really was thinking this. You do things for the communities.
Mhm.
So I was thinking in terms of beautification, weeding, trash pickup in you know, picking up, you know, things like that. Is that also part of it, or am I thinking in terms of public service as opposed
Yeah,
to?
that's more a service project where you would
Okay.
physically do them. But for us, many times it's going and teaching how to do something. So really,
Okay.
you know, people, we're not like a garden club and we're not a service club. We're really an educational group. And so
Okay.
we're taking the knowledge, you know, that we have and taking it out into the community. Megan and
Okay.
I always say, as volunteers, we couldn't do what we do professionally without the volunteers. You're like extending our reach
Mhm.
because we can't be all things to all people, you know, all the time.
Right,
So
right.
being able to do that is very rewarding. I know, you know, we've worked in various community gardens, schools, and we're there teaching. You know, it may be that we're helping students plant their first time in raised beds, you know, or and teaching them how to harvest and that kind of thing. It's how to, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yep.
because like propagating plants, like, you
Mhm.
know, I'm on Googling and I'm trying to learn that way, so
Right.
you would
And you
be,
can do
this
a whole
would be a
class on that.
resource.
Yeah,
Okay, but this
absolutely.
would be a resource to help me to learn how to do for myself,
Exactly.
as a, you
Yep.
know, so, and I would then learn it and be able to teach somebody else.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
And
okay,
that teaching could come from one-on-one. It could be a workshop like this. It could literally be the Master Gardener Minutes that we've learned to do. And it's, you know, it could be something as soon as when to prune hydrangea, or how to clean up, you know, one section of your garden, or maybe it's on a specific butterfly. One of the most popular ones is actually building a greenhouse out of windows.
wow.
I think the thing has 20-some thousand hits, but it's literally less than a minute, and that's the beginning to the end and the credits. So you don't have to be on the video. You can just be speaking, and it be pictures and or B-roll, as Michelle talks about, but a lot of that. And so we try to find what people's talents are. I am always, and Megan is too, amazed at what people bring to the program. You know, we've done journaling, a winter journaling exercise. It could be sketching plants, you name it. I feel like we've probably done something like that. One of the things I'll promote here, because I love it, but in Kent County, they've really gone above and beyond and done series. So like this year, this spring is a native plant series. So they're literally going to do, was it 6 or more? I think it's at least 6.
So
5.
So last year we did like a vegetable 101. So every whatever day of the week it was, we did a specific vegetables. So squash, then cucumber, then tomatoes, and it was just 1 hour, just about that specific one. This year we're doing native species, so grasses, spring ephemerals. What else are we doing?
Probably
Woodies,
perennials.
some woodies for backyard specifically, but just all focusing on native plants. So we do a plant sale, a scholarship plant sale as well. So we really try to promote a lot of natives. So we want to teach people how to utilize the native plants that we're going to be selling. It's just a win-win. So we're looking forward to that. We've got a lot of people signed up so far. So yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
So-
work too, though. It is a lot of work, but it's been very rewarding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have any other questions about the program?
Just because I'm curious, so who's from Kent? I saw Leslie, you said you're from Kent. Was there anyone else that is from Kent? Okay.
Well, Zoe's from Kent, but
I'm
she's
from Kent, yes.
You're already in it, though. I already got your number.
I
Zoe's in it
joined
up to her
again.
eyeballs.
Yes, she is.
One of the other things I wanted to mention too, I'm just grazing over the frequently asked questions. So can you get involved in volunteering and training? Yes, absolutely. As you're taking classes, you can start coming to the monthly meetings, and then you can also volunteer for different projects if you feel comfortable doing that. I will say, as I mentioned, some people get a little overwhelmed when we start with classes just because they haven't been in class in a while. You know, if Megan and I say it once, we'll say it like 50 times. Just, it's no big deal. It's okay. Don't stress. You know, the information is there. You know, we're giving you the resources. And basically, we provide different resources via electronically, or also handouts and that kind of thing. If you're in person, we can actually get back to that. But basically what you'll do is you'll build that notebook. So we don't choose what handouts the lecturer may be giving you, but many times it may be a copy of the PowerPoint. It may be the latest vegetables and fruits. It may be the latest varieties that do well here, things like that. We will enhance things as things go, as the classes go along, but you'll be getting what that professor or agent wants you to have as a reference material. And so you kind of build your own notebook. Some of the other things that we do, we ask you to do a garden plan. And as part of your homework, again, doing a soil test is part of the homework.
Don't scare them, Tracy. No, just
I'm not. It's all very easy. And we're asking you to do something. See, Zoe made it through. She's
I made it
smiling.
through. If I
And
made
she
it
did
through-
it via Zoom, not even in person. So
And I did want to talk about that. I'm a recent graduate. I graduated in the 21 class, and we were all Zoom, like Tracy said. And I didn't think I was going to like Zoom because I'm one of those hands-on people. I've always been the student who sits in the front and whatnot. So I didn't think I was going to like Zoom at all. But I did like Zoom. I was really, really surprised. I think the reason I liked it is because when the presenter is presenting, you are just focused right on the presenter and nothing else, because that's what you have in front of you on the Zoom presentation. But you do miss out on getting to know your classmates. And I am still trying to get to know my classmates. You know, here it is a year later. And, you know, I still don't know all of my classmates. I know very few people from Newcastle. I'm getting to know the people from Sussex and Kent. There were only a few of us anyway, but I think the hybrid is a good idea, you know, for when it is inconvenient for people to actually go to the class. The hybrid would make it more accessible to them to participate in the class. I do have one question though. You were talking about there's a fee of $150, and that fee covers a lot of things. It also covers the background check and all that. But one thing I was wondering, we don't have dues. We never pay dues, do we?
Some
Yeah.
organizations actually have a dues / fee, yearly fee. We do not. We try to make this as accessible as possible to everyone. If there's a need, we do have some scholarship monies that we try to make that happen if needed. But we want to be sure that, you know, anyone who has an interest that, you know, we can make it a program they can participate in. So you'll see that a lot of our classes are free too. And that's one of the other things that we try to do, if at all possible. There may be a fee to cover supplies and materials, that kind of thing. But many times, again, this is, you know, we're open to all people, and that's what we want to be sure we're doing, and making every effort to reach as many people as possible, and not allowing monetary means to be a burden to people. So yeah, that's a great question.
The classes were phenomenal. Bugs. I loved the bug class. I never knew that, you know, there were good bugs. I always thought all bugs needed to be killed, you know, so you need the predator bugs to go after the bad bugs. So
yeah,
let Mother Nature do her thing.
You know, one of the other advantages, I would say, and I know we rely heavily on our master gardeners, is when there is a problem in the green industry. I'm thinking of boxwood blight. That's one that has infiltrated here in Delaware. We've been able to keep it isolated, but literally we were learning about that before we ever had any here in the state of Delaware. And the first case of boxwood blight that came in on some plants from another state actually went to a master gardener's house. And so Delaware Department of Agriculture, who are the regulatory arm, they had to go. That disease is so infectious with spores and stuff. They literally had to trash bag the plants and use a shop vac to get all the leaves up so it wouldn't transfer out. So we make sure that master gardeners are on the front line and learning, like spotted lanternfly. We were on top of that, even though we didn't get them until the last 2 years here in Sussex. But a lot of those types of things. One of the things that we're just so blessed in Sussex County to have is crepe myrtle bark scale. Kent and Newcastle do not have that. But that showed up during COVID. And, you know, I went out with our Delaware Department of Ag Plant Industries person and scouted in the community on that to learn more about it. But when we're learning about new pests and or problems, you guys will be learning it as well. So that's another advantage of being a master gardener. You'll be on the front line and in the know.
Hi, this is Theone again. Will there be a list of topics that will be covered in the upcoming class?
Yes. In fact, we're literally working on speakers, and we've decided on the topics, and now it's just a matter of juggling schedules for all the presenters. You know, some will be teaching class in the fall on campus, and just even that person, depending on how important it is, if they need to be on campus to teach later in the day, they may be in Newark one day and we Zoom with them, and another time we're going to make sure that we can get people in front of our trainees as much as possible for answering questions and things like that. So
great, thank you.
Sure.
I've got to sign off.
All right, well, thank you for joining us this evening. Any other questions that you may have?
Is there a specific process if you want to transfer Master Gardener training from another state to Delaware.
Yes. So you would can't, if you're in Sussex, you would reach out to me and I would work with you on that. And then
Okay.
Kent, it would be Megan, and Newcastle would be Carrie Murphy. But yes, we can do that.
Okay.
A lot of that is just getting the training that you've had, and depending on if it's a state close by, we may not ask, or if you were coming from California to Delaware, we may ask you to sit in on a few classes during training kind of thing, just to be up on the current issues that we're facing here in Delaware. But yeah, just reach out to me and be happy to help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I want to say thank you to Bunny and Linda and Karen. Thank you all.
Well, thank you.
Was
You're
fun.
welcome.
It was fun.
Lots of interested people, so we're looking forward to seeing you all.
Yeah. And you will be receiving an email from us that has the PowerPoint and the link to the application. And yeah, we'll get that out to you ASAP here in the next few days.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow.
So, and if for some reason you don't get it, please, Grace, for some reason didn't get the link, and now she's gotten 2 from Caleb and from me, but we would rather have 2 than 0. So there's always craziness, like sometimes for whatever reason, stuff doesn't come back, or doesn't go through. So would rather you call. As I tell all our volunteers, I don't mind if you ask twice. I just want to be sure you get the information you need. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much
Thank
for
you.
your
Yeah.
interest, and feel free to reach out with questions, and look forward to that email, and hopefully we'll see an application from you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
Good
See you, Meg.
job,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care.